Marvel Rivals on paper looked like another shitty Marvel game that was coming out that honestly should have failed. It hit all the red flags for a game that should just be bad and dead on arrival, another Concord, blah, blah, blah. It's made by a mobile game company in China. The optimization's not great. And yet, despite all of that, it is the most popular multiplayer game in the world. And I have to admit myself, when I first saw the announcement of the game in May, I doubted it, or April of 2023. I doubted it. I was like, oh, unowned, it's going to be super broken, unfun, blah, blah, blah. And it still could go down that path. We don't know for sure. But man, after playing the alpha in May, I knew immediately that the game would be great. And despite my comment section, Twitter, oh, cheap Overwatch clone, shitty game, blah, 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 all the negative things people had to say, it's now the most popular multiplayer game in the world. And I'm going to talk to you guys today about what it was that they did differently and why this game has been received so well by so many. I stream Marvel Rivals every day on this channel and my Twitch around 11 a.m. to noon EST, around that time frame. So if you guys want to come get some top 100 tips, by all means, come through. Watch us rage a little bit. It's going to be a good time this entire month. Every time we flame somebody, it's $1 to Kentucky Children's Hospital, so that's going to be really fun. But yeah, let's get into it. And also, head over to my Patreon if you want to get personalized coaching from me and get access to all the other coaching sessions. Head over there. But let's talk a little bit about Marvel Rivals. They did so much right that was so brilliant in this game. For one, why do people play hero shooters? The hero fantasy. They captured the identities of the Marvel characters so well. You really feel like you're playing as Tony Stark when you're playing Iron Man, or Peter Parker when you're playing Spider-Man. You could go down the list of these characters. You feel like they should do Danny Rand, but when I'm playing Iron Fist, I feel like Lin Lee. I feel like one of the Iron Fists. They did hero identity so well, and they said, forget balance, forget all this crap. We're going to make this game as crazy, broken, fun as possible. And not only are we going to go the opposite direction of what Overwatch did, where Overwatch, and especially in Overwatch 2, they simplified the game. Marvel Rivals doubled down on the depth that makes hero shooters fun. How did they do that? With seasonal team-ups. So every season, they're going to cycle unique team-up abilities that Marvel Rivals characters have. I think the strongest one right now that people are seeing is the gamma radiation from Hulk, where he can infuse his gamma radiation to Doctor Strange and Iron Man, making Iron Man do an unbelievable amount of damage. Hela, Loki, and Thor have a team-up where if Hela gets a kill and Thor and Loki died, they instantly res where they died. Iron Fist gives Luna Snow an AoE stun heal ability for her whole team and stun and slow on enemies. Moon Knight gets a invisibility cloak from Cloak and Dagger when they're played together. It is so cool and so fun, and all of these things are going to rotate in between the seasons. There's dozens of team-ups that make the game have a ton of depth and diversity with crazy over-the-top moments, which is what makes people want to play hero shooters. The hero shooter genre, it's not Call of Duty. It's not a traditional shooter that's more like a McDonald's. There's nothing wrong with being McDonald's, but McDonald's is there for everybody. Hero shooters are the steakhouse of multiplayer games, where you go for a very curated experience, a very specific type of thing. And the better that you do that specific thing, the better your game is going to be. And where a lot of other titles would choose to simplify it to appeal to a wider audience, their dev team chose to double, triple down on the synergies, the fun moments, the big moments, and build off of that core identity and take it to a level that Overwatch had not in a very long time. And I know some people just want to hear Marvel Rivals. They don't want to hear about Overwatch, but you have to mention Overwatch when talking about Marvel Rivals, because I see so many people say, oh, well, Marvel Rivals, they learned Overwatch's failures, but that's not what they did. They learned from Overwatch's success. You can see, like, Overwatch had the best world building of any first-person shooter to ever really come out. That's why it won Game of the Year in 2016. And Marvel copied that formula and did it in the Marvel-verse. Like, when you're on the Asgard map, Yggdrasil Path, I probably can't pronounce that, the load screen where you load it and you see the world of Asgard around you, and then Loki flies around you and gives you some lore about their timeline. And the story they're telling, it has its own unique comic that's coming out that you can unlock in the game, and there's actually going to be a Marvel-verse dedicated to Marvel Rivals. And as somebody, I love the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. It's one of my favorite series series of all time. The fact that they're doing this in this game and they've taken an inspiration from how Overwatch built its world on its launch and are now doing it in Marvel Rivals is amazing, and they nailed it. Loki feels like a trickster in game, from the story, the world building, to the actual characters when you're playing them in game, the voice acting, all of this stuff. It was perfect. It was perfect. It's so good what they were able to do. And Overwatch does it really well as well. But man, they absolutely nailed the world building. They absolutely nailed the synergy. And now let's move on to a more specific side of the gameplay, okay? Let's talk about their systems in game. They've got a replay system where you can go watch any games from any rank to see and learn. Like, for example, if you're trying to learn Iron Fist and you watch my stream, you can go watch any of my games in the replay viewer without having to watch my stream, for example. You can go watch a Black Panther player. You can go watch a Star-Lord player. You can watch a Luna Snow. You can watch a Groot. You can learn any of this stuff, and actually it's easily accessible to the player. And while this game shouldn't be as competitive as a first-person shooter with a better game engine that's better optimized like Overwatch, it's almost more competitive in the game because of the ban system. Bans in the top 3%. It's the best competitive system I've ever played with, and I can't believe that I missed it. And I know a lot of players at home might not, be at that rank where you have to play with bans, but it's what allows this game to have so many broken, over-the-top things that are super strong and have it exist, because it adds a whole new layer of depth to the game. It's like an onion that you keep peeling it, but it just never ends with all the layers to the game. And so to all the people sitting there saying, oh, well, it's going to be just like Overwatch. People are going to figure out the meta. It's going to ruin the game. But when you get to the ranks where meta matters the most, there are a ton of different tools the players have to actually negate that meta or ban certain things so that it would never happen. This is something that Overwatch never really tried. They tried a half-assed hero pool system, but they never were willing to do bans. And after playing with the ban system, it adds enormous layers of depth to the game and strategy for the high-end players. Not to mention their in-game tournament system that lets you support clans and guilds. And you can play with your friends, make your guilds. It's amazing. The marketing, the hero trailers, the amount of stories and heroes they can pull from, even Marvel characters we never heard of, like Jeff the Shark, who came out in 2019, is now the most viral character out there. The game is so memeable, it's so wacky, it's so lovable. And they captured all of these things from the Marvel-verse that everybody and their mother has seen at some point and put it into a video game with the Overwatch formula and delivered a masterpiece. An absolute S-tier masterpiece. And it's just great. It's great to see. The game is approachable. It's got all these cool characters. It makes you want to invest in it. And people can sit here and call this a glaze, but there's genuine hope in this game. Perception matters. There's so much hope around it that, like, where could they take this? Could they they're going to be telling the story of the verse with Dr. Doom. Are they going to bring Thanos in? Is Dr. Doom going to be a playable character? A couple more characters like Mr. Fantastic and the Human Torch have already leaked. And they're going to start with them because they have very serious ties to Dr. Doom in a lot of comics, especially Mr. Fantastic. So it's just the best of everything. They did such a good job. And, this game was in development for 4 or 5 years. And many of the voice actors have been speaking out on Twitter, talking about what their experience was like and how they're happy to be voicing these characters. And it's just been awesome. And it blows my mind because they've made me rethink everything I thought I knew about this genre. Everything is so outside of the box and innovative, from abilities like Doctor Strange Portal, which will kill your frames, but allows for crazy synergies. Hulk throwing Wolverine across the map. Like, it's insane. The stuff you can do in this game is crazy. It's wacky. It's fun. It's just fun. And so this game was the biggest blessing of 2024. It's the biggest surprise that nobody expected coming in 2024. And in 2025, it's going to be one of the most prominent names in the multiplayer space. And I think it should win multiplayer game of the year. I don't know if it will win game of the year, but I think it's undoubtedly the multiplayer game of the year. It's so much fun. Destructible buildings. And I love that mechanic. There's a couple times where it pisses me off. Like the symbiote map where you can shoot it and the wall comes up. I think you should only be able to shoot to break things, not place things. That's just me. But so many of these things have just made me completely rethink everything about the genre. And this is why these devs are so great. They went outside the box. They swung the bat, and they didn't just get a base hit, man. They hit a home run, grand slam, masterpiece of a game. And I can't wait to see where they go with it. From a systems perspective to a marketing perspective, some of the stuff they're doing for content creators, I'm sure you guys are going to hear about down the line. Everything was so well thought through that the game is going to build a very strong, solid, fun audience. Now, is it going to stay that way? I don't know. But I will say they've got a better foundation to do it than anybody else because of their in-game systems. And I hope they continue to pump out enormous amounts of content into this game. This game could be the League of Legends of the hero shooter genre. It could be like a Smite. And that's what it should go for. I think they should try to put out as much stuff as they can. Who cares about overlap? Who cares? Just get as many Marvel characters in here as you can. Add more strategists. Add more vanguards that make the game more fun. I want to see them go over the top crazy with it. And I hope they do. I hope they don't hold back. And as long as there's a ban system so we can ban the problematic characters in game, go over the top. Be wacky. Everything about this game has made me reevaluate what I thought was good and what I thought was bad in this genre. And I'm very blessed and happy to be a part of it. So, Marvel Rivals, hats off to you guys. You have impressed at every turn, aside from the game optimization, which still needs to get worked on. That's the only real problem. But man, I played Modern Warfare 2 competitively on a shitty Xbox 360 with no frames, shitty connection, and it taught me competitiveness comes from the soul and the love of a product, not just the game engine, not just all these things. It made me forget about that stuff. And from a systems point of view, design point of view, these guys doubled down on everything that makes this genre fun and nailed the world building to pull in players from all around the world that would never try any of the other hero shooters like Overwatch or Paladins or things that they thought were old news. But Marvel pulls all these people in, and I'm so excited to see them tell their story. And it's nice to have genuine hope in this genre once again. So thank you, Marvel Rivals, for being the best surprise of this decade for me. Best surprise of this decade. Thank you so much for delivering when so many of us had lost hope. And I'm really excited to be covering this game in the new year. They did all these things right. It's amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll catch you guys next time. Take care. Much love. Peace out.